You're welcome to today's episode of Chronicles of a Nigerian Woman. My name is Fagbeja, and today I'll be reading Sewa's story. I became a widow at the age of 36. It was so tough for me. My husband and I were very close, and we had been together for 15 years. We courted for 5 years and were married for 10. I know you'll be wondering why our relationship was so long. We were both in our final year when we started our relationship. And of course, there were many things we needed to set in place before we could get married finally. We went for our youth service, then we both went for our master's degrees and took some professional exams. I got a job in HR and he was in the IT sector. He built and managed databases. His skill was in very high demand at the time and his first job was with a bank. He made a lot of money and we were very comfortable. From the bank, he moved to an international investment firm and then to an airline servicing company that had operations all across Africa. So he started traveling often. It was on one of those trips that he was involved in a motor accident in Algeria. I had to travel to meet him there as he was in a critical state. When he became a bit stable, we had the option to move him to Nigeria to be closer to our support system. And so we agreed. He was in the hospital in Nigeria for about 6 weeks and we were hoping for the best. I prayed and prayed. At a point, he went into a coma, but he regained consciousness after a few days, and we believed that the worst was over. But eventually, he threw a massive embolism, and that was what killed him. The doctors tried. He received the best medical care possible, but things went as they did. I went numb with pain. I am usually a very practical and stoic person, so I did not lose my composure. We had 3 boys, and I had to be strong for them. I did what was needed to be done and barely cried, but I also barely ate and barely rested. I did not want to create any room to think about things, so I kept myself in constant motion. My in-laws were wonderful people. My mother-in-law and my mom took turns staying with me and helping with the children. And my husband's immediate younger brother joined me in doing the paperwork and making arrangements for the funeral. It was after the funeral, when activities had ceased and things were supposed to settle back into normal, that I lost it. The realization that things for me and in our home would never be the same finally dawned on me, and that was when I became inconsolable. I had to be put on antidepressants and sleeping pills because I could not sleep at all. And I had lost so much weight because I stopped eating almost completely. It lasted for about a month before my mom sat me down and spoke some sense to me. Basically to the effect that I needed to stop being selfish and to consider the children and if I wanted them to be orphaned. I almost hated her at that moment, but deep down, I knew she was telling the truth. And it was as if she opened my eyes because I really was not considering my children before that. My perspective changed and I slowly started to gather myself together. She stayed with me for almost 3 months and I was able to resume work and things slowly started to return to normal. On the social scene, things went crazy. It was my mother-in-law who visited me one day about 8 months after the incident and told me that I was young and did not have to commit myself to a life of loneliness and celibacy, and that I had their blessings to remarry, and also that they would support and help me with the kids as much as I needed. It meant a lot to me for her to say this. It was a question I had asked myself, but I never discussed it with anyone because I thought it seemed so carnal. So having her in particular say this was a big relief. But I did not have the faintest idea of how to get into the dating scene. Technically, I had never been in it because I met my husband in school. Where would I go? How would I behave? We had been quite social, but it was both of us together, and it was mostly going for musical recitals or plays or Christian concerts, etc., because we are very committed to our faith. I knew I looked younger than my age and was still attractive, but it just seemed so strange. After a year, I got a relationship coach. She was a Christian too, and she had been divorced after 8 years of marriage and was now remarried, so she understood me. I've been with her for about 2 years now, and I have learned so much. I have even been out on a couple of dates, and I am currently in talking stages with someone. I have had a conversation with my kids to let them know that there is the possibility of me getting married again. We have discussed the modalities, they have raised their concerns, and they are open to it now. I am very hopeful about things moving forward. Please share your thoughts about Sewa's story in the comment section. Remember to subscribe to my channel and to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos.